In this video, I'll be teaching 7 of my top chained takedowns, which includes 8 takedowns in total. I'll first be teaching a standard run the pipe single leg takedown, followed by a standard double leg takedown. Then I'll show you how to transition from the single leg takedown to the double leg takedown, then how the double leg can transition into a back take, followed by my favorite back control takedown. And if our opponent defends the back take, I'll be showing how we can transition into 4 judo throws of your choice: the Ogoshi, Tai Otoshi, Uchi, or the Harai Goshi. And if my opponent defends my double leg takedown and the back take, I like to hit a Muay Thai sweep. So how to perform a basic single leg takedown: simply change levels and grab onto your opponent's lead leg. Direct the leg in between your 2 legs and turn to the side that you have the leg trapped. So if I had my opponent's right leg, I'd turn counterclockwise, and if I had my opponent's left leg, I'd turn clockwise. So in this example, I have my opponent's right leg, so I turned counterclockwise as I slid my left leg backwards, using my right shoulder to apply pressure to my opponent's right thigh. And while doing all this, you also want to hinge at the hips, bringing your head to your toes. And on to how to perform a basic double leg takedown. You want to change levels as you step forward with your lead leg and drop your lead knee down in between your opponent's 2 legs as you grab behind both legs, 1 arm on each leg. Then sweep your rear leg forward for power. You want to push off that leg to step your other leg up and continue driving or running as you pick up the legs to the side to finish the takedown. There are several variations of the double leg, but I added a link below for another video where I teach these variations in detail. So let's get into our first chained takedown, the single leg to double leg. Once you have that leg in between your 2 legs, you want to turn to take your opponent down, but skilled opponents will hop on their standing leg to stay balanced. And to stay balanced, they need to hop that standing leg closer to their trapped leg. When that leg gets close enough, you can transition to the double leg by simply reaching for and taking a step towards that leg and driving forward to complete the takedown. By the way guys, if you are interested in learning these techniques or learning from me personally, I highly recommend you join me at one of my next training retreats with loads of training, accommodations, great food, awesome people from all over the world, and affordable yet beautiful countries. Check out the details in the link in the description box below. So when I shoot for a takedown and my opponent sprawls, it often allows me to transition to take the back by cutting an angle. When my back leg sweeps forward, I push off that leg while I use my neck/head to push my opponent to my right as I circle clockwise and transition my arms from the legs around the waist to take the back. You can see I can still circle to the back when I hit the ground. Which leads to my next top takedown. Wrestlers call this takedown mat return. I just call it a lift and slam. Once you circle around to take the back, if your opponent stays standing, all you really need to do is get a gable grip around your opponent's hips, bend your legs, and lift your opponent up as if you are doing a deadlift. In a fight, you would slam them to the ground, but in sparring, just let them fall. Even if your opponent defends your double leg with a whizzer, aka an overhook, if you transition fast enough, sometimes you can still circle around the back before your opponent squares up with you using that whizzer. If your opponent does stop you from taking the back, it leads right into my next top takedown. My next top takedown is a judo throw called the Ogoshi. I just call it a hip throw. You can see I shot for the double leg, but my opponent sprawled to defend. You can see I immediately tried to circle around to take the back, but he stopped it with the overhook. We kept circling because I still tried to take the back, but I was unable to, and we ended up in a neutral over and under position. In this specific example, I finished with an outside leg trip, but normally I'd find myself in the over and under clinch. Again, what often prevents a back take is a strong whizzer. Your opponent is wrapping their arm around yours while they try to square up with you. So from the under and over position, keep the arm around the back and use your other arm to control the wrist or elbow, depending on if you have MMA gloves or boxing gloves on. Then step your left foot in front of your opponent's lead/left foot and your right foot in front of your opponent's right foot, so you are parallel with them. Then shoot your hips up into the air as you try to pick them up with your hips and rotate your upper body counterclockwise to throw your opponent over you. This next top takedown is the Tai Otoshi. I shot for the double leg takedown as usual. My opponent defends with an underhook, and we are in the over and under position. And instead of going for an Ogoshi, I went for the Tai Otoshi by taking a wide step outside my opponent's outside leg, trapping below the knee line, and tossing him over my hips as I turn my upper body and right arm counterclockwise as I pull his right elbow down with my left arm. And my next top takedown is the Uchi, which is another type of judo throw. Similar to the previous takedown and setup, I like to shoot for my double leg, and sometimes my opponent defends with an underhook, which naturally puts us in the under and over position. From the under and over position, you're going to want to shoot your hips away from your opponent's hips so you have enough space to step. In this situation, your right foot in front of your opponent's right foot to shift your weight onto your right leg, then turn your upper body in this situation clockwise and kick your left leg in between your opponent's two legs. Make sure to kick the mid thigh of the leg closest to you, not the groin. This will lift your opponent's right leg up into the air. But usually your opponent won't fall from this. You'll need to hop as many times as necessary while turning your upper body and tugging down with the overhook arm until your opponent flips over. Takedown 7. In the rare situation after my opponent defends the double leg, I'll go for the Harai Goshi, similar to the Tai Otoshi, except my leg is trapping over the knee line instead. I learned these details from my brother Yoon, who is a judo black belt. The reason I don't go for the Harai Goshi often right after my opponent defends my double leg shot is because I feel too far to wrap my leg over the knee line from the over and under position to get enough leverage to hit the throw. However, when my opponent fights for the double underhooks in the clinch, I will let them and reverse the body lock with the Harai Goshi by headlocking my opponent's head and pulling down on the arm as I turn to the same side I'm pulling down on the arm, and then chopping above the knee. Because I am now hugging around the head, I am much closer and feel much more leverage wrapping my leg above the knee line. The next one here is very situational and only works if your opponent leans on you. Again, from the under and over position, your opponent may want to prevent you from pummeling your second hook in so they stay tight to you. Or they may not want to let you keep your hips away because they are anticipating another Uchimata or just knees up the middle. So they keep their hips close to yours. In this situation, step your overhook side leg forward to get your hips underneath your opponent and pull with your underhook arm as you arc your back. Think of a suplex where you are throwing your opponent over your shoulders, except you are not throwing yourself to the ground. You can also use your other leg to trip your opponent by stepping on their shin while you sweep them. When you use your foot to trip, it's actually similar, if not the same thing, as a throw in judo called Sasae. So if you guys like this video, definitely help me out by commenting and hitting that like, subscribe, and notification button. Now, before you go, if you want to learn thousands of striking and grappling techniques, be instructed on how to drill these specific techniques in different situations, as well as how long you should be drilling, you'll want to check out my MMA Go program. You will get access to 4 follow-on classes a week, 2 striking and 2 grappling technique and conditioning classes, as well as a bonus session. I put everything I know in this program, and it's an ongoing membership, so new techniques I'm currently learning will be added. Find out more information in the description box below.